Hello and welcome to the Warhammer Podcast, episode 178. I'm your host, Eric, and got a guest with me today from OneLastBlade. Hello, Stefan.
Hello, I am genuinely really happy to be here.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the 10th edition Grey Knight Codex.
Oh boy, yes we are.
So let's jump right into it. All right, so Brad was busy this week, and I wanted to talk Grey Knights because we got the 10th edition Codex. So who better to have on as a guest other than OneLastBlade? Stefan, you want to give a quick intro?
Yeah, I've been a YouTuber for a couple years, entirely focused on Grey Knight stuff. I haven't been updating as much lately, but as I told folks in my latest video, I am still playing Grey Knights all of the time. I actually have 5 games with this new Codex already.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I played every single one of the detachments to get a feel for them before I passed judgment on any of them. I banged out a lot of games real quick.
Yeah, this is fantastic because, I wanted to talk the Grey Knights Codex because it's my first full faction to getting into 40k and I'm super excited, but I haven't really played that much Grey Knights in 10th edition. Part of it was the way Psychic was done in 10th kind of put me negatively on it.
Yeah.
And then part of it is also I've just been really having a lot of fun with Orks. But the Grandmaster Detachment came out and that was awesome. That reinvigorated me. And so I'm here for playing Grey Knights with a new codex. But at the same time, I haven't really done too much with 10th edition. So I think it'll be quite helpful that you're here as the Grey Knight aficionado.
Yeah, speaking of Warpbane, my immediate reaction to this codex when I started reading all the various attachments and things, Warpbane, it's really good. Rerolls is great. Surprise. But it wasn't very fun, I don't think, Warpbane.
Oh, I enjoyed
it. Just
it.
kind of, it put out a lot of power, which felt really cool. But God, I missed the movement shenanigans of Teleport Strike. I played maybe 15, 16 games of Warpbane, and I think it was enough for me. It was good, but I missed all the weird, tricky shit.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. I had a lot of fun with it, but I don't play quite as much 40k as you do. So I was still in the, this is real fun dishing out a bunch of damage. But yeah, it's definitely a different style to what the index had of a lot of finesse up and down, get victory points kind of stuff going on.
And I feel like a lot of the detachments in this new book, they try to meld that at the very least. I don't know if they succeed, but they try to meld that sort of the fast sort of movement shenanigans that 10th edition Grey Knights are known for and the outputs that Warpbane has. I don't think they succeed a lot, but they try, you can tell.
And the codex has been received with mixed reviews, I think. So not everything's going to be perfect, but I am kind of excited. Just kind of jumping into it. The army rule is basically the same as what we had in the index with some slight changes that do matter.
Yes. I had a bunch of people in my club trying to convince me that they were going to get rid of the army rule entirely because, quote, it's too powerful. And you know how 40k players are constant grain of salt takes.
Oh, yeah.
I really like the change they made, that just throwing it straight into strategic reserves as opposed to this weird Grey Knights liminal space. Like you said, it's a small change, but it makes a difference. I don't have to explain it differently to people. And you can use Rapid Ingress now, which is cool.
Well, that's the thing is it was Grey Knights uppy downy instead of Grey Knights doing they're teleporting to strategic reserves and then you just play the game.
Yeah, it was one of those things that whenever I'd go to tournaments and stuff, I'd want to make sure I let my opponent know ahead of time, even if I didn't think it was going to make a difference, just, hey, this isn't strat reserves if this makes a difference. It rarely ever made a difference, but it was one of those things that I felt like I had to clarify. And I don't have to do that anymore, which is nice.
Yeah, it's a nice buff. Going into strat reserves means that you can do Rapid Ingress, which I feel like there's going to be a decent amount of people that are going to use that. When the codex initially comes out, they're going to be like, oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to Rapid Ingress all kinds of shit and be like, maybe you shouldn't have done that. But it'll be fun.
Yeah, you're still only able to put 3 units up and you got to use them for scoring points. And Rapid Ingress isn't always the answer, but...
Yeah, but there's also the fact that you can keep them in strategic reserves for turn 4 or turn 5 of this unit was basically wiped out. It's not going to do anything other than when the game's kind of petering out and I can drop it in, get some victory points.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I hadn't considered that. You got 2 strike marines who survived and you can just throw them into space and be like, you guys are going to do fucking behind enemy lines turn 5. You just stay there.
Yeah, they weren't really going to do much coming back in on, turn 3. They just didn't have the defense or power output or whatever. So like just in case kind of thing. It's not the most likely thing that's going to come up. Most likely you're still going to play it very similar.
But again, flexibility. That's the verisimilitude. That's what we want there.
Yeah. And I mean, that is kind of why this rule is so strong, is it's just gives you so much options and potential.
I was talking with a guard player last night. He was trying to teach a Blood Angels player to like more the competitive scene. We have a guard player at our club who is like the 1 in 20 guard players who knows what they're doing and then obliterates everybody else. And he was trying to teach this Blood Angels player the basics of like starting to get competitive with 40k, and they kept talking about how important your positioning and deployment is. I kept just thinking, not me, I get to just do another thing. I don't care.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is so true, though. A lot of armies, positioning matters, especially melee-focused armies. And Grey Knights, I mean, it still matters.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't matter quite as much. It matters in a different way. You get different shenanigans that you can pull. So, I guess with that, where do we want to start with, like, the new detachments?
I mean, let's just go right down the line. Brotherhood Strike is the first one. I always want to say Brotherhood Strike Force, but it's not called Brotherhood Strike Force. It's just called Brotherhood Strike, which...
That's weird.
It feels truncated, but I guess not a big deal.
But this is like the updated index, but like a decent amount's changed. It's kind of really different.
So it's the for the folks who don't have it in front of them, it's the one that each time a unit from your army is set up using the Deep Strike ability until the end of the turn, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1 and reroll a wound roll of 1, which is reroll's good. Surprise.
It is quite good.
I played one game with this, and I found that this detachment rule, because it's only out of Deep Strike, surprisingly wasn't super relevant. There's still no bonuses to charge. There's one enhancement in this detachment that can give a character reroll charges, but because there's still no bonuses to charge, you're not really getting the reroll ones on melee attacks. So it's mostly just shooting.
Yeah, I think that is a big part of like this detachment rule is pretty strong, but it's great for shooting, but it's just not reliable for melee. Like you said, we don't have a reliable charge. Like Keldor Drago's 6-inch just isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah.
So we're stuck at a 9-inch charge, which I don't know the exact numbers, but you know, rough estimates like 25% chance, 45 with a reroll, either the enhancement or a command point reroll. Like 45% chance is good enough to go for it a lot of times, but half the time you're not going to get it. And then this detachment rule doesn't trigger in melee.
One thing I've really learned over the last, 2+ years of playing the 10th edition detachment, if I'm at a point where I'm relying on a charge roll out of Deep Strike, I have lost the game. If I'm sitting there being like, God, if I just make this 9-inch charge, I can do it, then I've already fucked up. Relying on that is so tricky. So I think this one wants to be a shooting detachment.
I think that's where you're going to get this detachment rule to actually work. But Grey Knight's shooting is...
Yeah, again, it's just like, it's Dread Knights. Grey Knight shooting is at best fine.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the theme with a lot of these detachments, is just Dread Knights benefit from it, which, great, cool. Everybody likes Dread Knights, right? Nobody makes fun of Dread Knights.
Oh, that's so true. I mean, yeah, in the Codex, they're still great. But, like, I don't know, it's nice to have something else in addition to it. The ranged weapons aren't terrible in Grey Knights. Like, the Silencer, it's got, precision, sustained hits, 1. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's still no AP with, I'm sure you saw the new ability of the Razorback, jumping out and getting +1 AP. I've tried that on the Purgation Squad with 4 Silencers, and that's worked fine. It's been cool. It shreds cultists, killed a Chaos Lord with it, which felt cool because of the precision.
Yeah, but like a lot of those weapons are still, even with the reroll hit, reroll wound, it's not really fixing a lot of the like higher toughness enemies.
And that's something we'll get into like as we kind of like go through the other detachments and talk about some of the data sheets. We still don't have any good way to punch up. Like vehicles and monsters are still a big problem. And they took away a couple of okay anti-monster and vehicle tech that we had, and I am not entirely certain why.
I mean, this one does have True Silver channeling strat, which gives an infantry dev wounds for your psychic weapons, which, okay, it's 2 CP, which is ridiculous.
It's 2 CP.
But Grandmaster has the CP reduction ability, and like is already a pretty solid. He's punching.
Yeah, his best day ever is, I really like it, honestly, because I think the standard Space Marine captain only gives +3 to attacks, right? And his giving +3 to attacks and +3 strength is really nice.
Yeah.
I did notice that, so True Silver Channeling is a rename of one of the strats from the Index Detachment, but it only applies to infantry here. I went to use it on my Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight the other day and read through the strat and was like, oh, I can't. Suck.
Yeah, I think it was Radiant Strike or something like that.
Radiant Strike, yeah.
Which I don't think it's bad to have this only on infantry. Like, Nem Dreads are already good enough, kind of. But at the same time, like, did it need to be 2 CP then?
That's kind of my ultimate sort of perspective of this codex is it feels too cautious. There's a lot of riders and a lot of preventative, like, wording on it to make it feels like they really tried to make sure certain combos couldn't happen. Like, it feels way too cautious. And we'll talk more about that.
I mean, it kind of makes sense because the army rule is so strong for, like, not killing shit, but for winning the game.
Yeah.
But the Brotherhood Strike also has the Expeditious Exit strat, which, again, 2 CP, it's pretty expensive. But this one is, at the end of fight phase, one of your infantry can go back into strategic reserves, and it does not have the no engagement range limitation.
Yeah, it's really cool. Which, again, with the Grandmaster reducing it to 1, it's really neat. I'm a big fan of stuff like that. Again, like the movement tricks that were kind of absent from Warpbane. I'm a big fan of that. That 2 CP price cost is big, but it's very strong.
Yeah, the True Silver Channeling, I think that really only gets used if you're getting the CP reduction with Grandmaster, but like Expeditious Exit, 2 CP is a lot, but it's another, you get the 3 from the Army Rule Strike Force, and you get an additional 1, which is a lot of your units in a 2K game, and this doesn't have the engagement range limitation, so like it's just another thing that's like your opponent has to either just accept that it's an option or like make bad decisions trying to play around it in weird ways. It's just nice,
which I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. I went to the Tacoma Open recently with my whole club, and that was a ton of fun. And even if my opponents never triggered Mists of Demos, like they refused to move within 9 inches, it's the strat is still doing work even if you never use it because people are moving to avoid it. And this feels like one of those things where people are going to not want to jump into engagement range with like a vehicle or something because they think it'll just needlessly expose them to damage and then not even tie you up. So this feels like one of those stratagems where just having it in the list and being present is going to be a big boon.
Yeah, and I think that it's another one of those of when you don't have the 2 CP, you're kind of opening up the opponent to more options. But the other one I wanted to call out was Combat Manifestation strat, partially because this is, you know, one of those like you get to deep strike closer, but also because like I'm pretty sure the codex is setting it up 3 inches away from enemy units is going to be FAQ'd to 6 inches like everything else that does this.
Yeah, it's still like the data slate still overrides this.
As awesome as Grey Knights are, and as much as they're being pushed in 10th to doing the deep strike shenanigans, they're not like cheating it to this point, I don't think.
No, yeah, it's so that one's unfortunately still bound by the limitations of the data slate, which again, I understand why that's in the game. It sucks when Gene Stealer Colts hop out 3 inches away from you and then unload on you with like an entire army's worth of guns. I don't think Grey Knights are as deadly if they pop out 3 inches away.
Especially if they can't charge.
They can't. Surprise.
Yeah, and like the other thing was like, so the Grandmaster in Nem Dread's new Sublimator, Melta a billion or something like that, and it's a smaller range because Melta. So like 6 inches is still going to be useful, but like, you know, whatever.
Don't get me wrong, it's still very good. I'm happy to have that. It was a key tech in the index, so I'm glad it's there. I feel like a lot of the good parts of the index were sort of split out amongst the other detachments, which again, I understand why. I'm going to miss having Mists of Demos and Prognosticated Arrival at the same time.
Yeah, I think Mists of Demos went to like Banishers or something like that.
Yeah, and it's called Shadows of Anarch now.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I think Brotherhood Strike has a decent amount of movement, redeploy shenanigans, while also having like some just like general nice things going on. Was there any other strats? Because like the enhancements, I don't know, whatever.
They're fine. I think Blinding Aura enhancement that denies Overwatch, I think that could potentially be pretty powerful. There are some really nasty Overwatch threats in the game right right now. And if you want like a more relatively squishy Grey Knight, like any of the power armor bodies, it'd be nice to. I guess you can't give it to Purifiers because nobody who can take an enhancement can attach to Purifiers. Oh, you can't put on Interceptors because nobody can lead Interceptors either.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's just another limitation.
Would have been cool to have a generic Purifier like champion or something that you could throw enhancements onto.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll bring that up later.
Again, another like one of my bigger assessments with this whole book is it's fine. I wish they'd revisited things more. Nemesis weapons.
Yeah, I was going to put off to talking about like the missing things, but part of the missing things is we didn't get really anything new.
Yeah.
Somebody to lead Purifiers that's just more generic. That'd be nice.
I think we are one of the few codices or supplements this edition that has a net loss of units. I know Space Wolves lost some stuff, but they also gained a ton of new, really sick units.
They got a full refresh.
It's so cool. They got some great models. Yeah. Well, you want to move on to Hallowed Conclave, the Terminator detachment?
Yeah, because I fucking love Paladins, which are like better Terminators.
Yeah, which makes me so sad because I don't disagree with you at all. Paladins are excellent. Getting 3 damage on the charge is awesome. The fact that they can take an apothecary now, fucking fantastic. I just the Terminators before, and this feels legitimate to talk about because we're talking about the Terminator detachment. The Terminators having lethals before was one of our few ways to actually punch up into vehicles and stuff. And the bonus AP ability that they have it feels almost worthless.
So the Brotherhood Terminator squad lost their Hammerhand lethals on charge, and they gained Force Edge, which is melee attack that targets a unit, not monster or vehicle, improves AP characteristics by 1.
Not monster or vehicle.
Not only is it losing the lethal hits, it's also got that modifier of you can't get this when you're targeting the shit that needs it, monsters and vehicles.
Yeah, because if I'm being honest, like the AP2 from the Force weapons is already hitting like the invulns of elite infantry, and like guard, it's already destroying their armor. So you're already hitting the invuln. The bonus AP is going to do nothing against like, I don't know, Terminators or anything with a 5-up invuln. Where I would love to have the bonus AP would be into like bigger Space Marine vehicles or Wave Serpents or something like that, where you can bump them up from that 5-up save to the 6-up save. That'd be awesome, but
All right, so Hallowed Conclave's detachment rule is that Terminators are able to shoot and charge when they fall back.
Which is really cool. I like that a lot.
It sounds kind of lame to me until I got to the Paladin data sheet and was reading their new ability that anytime they charge, add 1 to the damage. And I'm just like, all right, I'm cycle charging shit all over.
Yeah. And I think that, like, aside from the dominant issue of the meta right now, which is a unit of Terminators exists in a binary state of full strength or dead, I feel like when my stuff is charged, most of the time I'm not going to live long enough to be able to fall back and charge again. Having that option is really cool though, and getting a big brick of like 8 or 10 Terminators stuck in combat for a couple rounds when you don't want them to be sucks. So
yeah,
I think it is just a straight boon. And again, as you said, the Paladin's getting 3 damage in the charge. That makes a big difference, being able to do that 2 turns in a row.
And I think the fact that the Paladins also have the Narthesium, which brings back a model, helps that just that extra bit of trying to not do the binary, either you're there or you're gone.
Yeah,
it does help a little bit, because like the Terminators are not weak, but once an opponent decides they want to turn weapons on them, they can usually evaporate. But like sometimes you roll well and 1 or 2 models are left, and it's like, okay, now we bump it up by 1. Now we can actually do some damage again with some cycle charging. All right. Or a big problem being you have this big brick of Terminators and it gets locked up by just some bullshit chaff.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, oh man, I don't want to deal with this. Like you've got like, you know, a quarter of the points trying to lock up my Terminators. All right, this is a good, I'm gonna fall back and I'm gonna go charge something else now that actually needs to go down.
Yeah, I think the only thing I wish this said, and maybe this would be too much, is if it said that Terminator units from your army are eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which they advanced or fell back. Maybe that's too much. But I mean, getting a little bit of a speed boost on the Terminators would be really nice.
No, I'm totally with you. That would be nice. But how much mobility do we want to actually give Grey Knights when they're deep striking all over the place? But then again, like Paladins, Terminators, a 5-inch move. It's slow as shit.
Yeah, like the vast mobility is warranted because of a lot of our lack of like staying power and a lot of our lack of killing power compared to other armies. I think early 10th edition, I think that Grey Knights have a fair amount of killing power, but the game has just evolved since then, which is, again, kind of why I wish they'd revisited the stats of some of our weapons.
Yeah. I mean, they did update a couple of them, but...
Yeah, precision on the silencers is neat.
Yeah, basically. One other thing to call about Terminators is you can now take them in 4, 5, 8, or 10 instead of just 5 and 10.
Which is super cool. I love that. That flexibility has made list building a lot better. Before, in the index, you'd have 40 or 50 points left over in a list, and you'd just be like, well, fuck, there's literally nothing I can do with that. I've already used my enhancements. Maybe if I remove this unit and throw in a different unit, but then I'm modifying my list more. I love having that flexibility. I mean, it's one thing that I think everybody misses about previous editions of 40k, being able to adjust model by model and war gear and stuff. And this brings back a semblance of that.
Yeah, a little bit. It does specifically help for the more elite armies like Grey Knights that have, you know, the last 30, 40 points weirdness going on.
Yeah. I will say in the games I've played, 160 points, 4-man Terminator squad to just jump around and do objectives has been awesome. They've worked real well. Even just removing one base from the Terminator squad, it makes them fit in a lot more places, because having like as good as like a big 10-man unit of Paladins with a Grandmaster attached to them, that's so much fucking space, and it's so easy to screen out. And having the little unit of like 4 bases of Terminators has been really cool to just zip around the board and do actions. A little bit more survivable than a strike squad. Big fan of the 4-man unit for 160 points.
Yeah, it's nice to have the flexibility going on there, but honestly, the fact that there's less bases and it makes screening that much more difficult against Grey Knights, that's huge.
Yeah, big deal. With the enhancements in this detachment in Hallowed Conclave, the enhancements here are a good example of one of the sort of disjointed aspects of this book, I think, because I like these enhancements, but it feels like they took 20 enhancements and 30 stratagems and sort of put them in a bowl and then just picked them out randomly and threw them into the detachments, because every single one of the enhancements in this detachment...
Well, I mean, there's 2 Overwatch related ones, which...
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, none of them directly interact with the fall back and shoot and charge aspect of it. The Overwatch stuff is good. Like, I like it. Especially the Eye of the Augurium. It lets you fire Overwatch or Heroic Intervention for 0 CP, and you can do it if somebody's already done it. That's really strong, especially on that group of Paladins, because if you Heroic Intervention, you don't get the fights first benefit from charging, but you still get to the +1 damage from charging because you made a charge move.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and so that it's really strong. It just doesn't, and I'll be able to point this out more when we talk about Banishers, but the enhancements just sort of...
They exist.
Yeah, like, I can't imagine putting the Nemesis rounds enhancement on a Terminator character. Like, so Nemesis rounds is every time this unit fires Overwatch, hit rolls of 5 hit in Overwatch. If we had like a big, like, I don't know, Terminators with like plasma cannons, or what do they call the big missile launchers on the backs of the regular Space Marine Terminators? But if we had something like that, maybe it'd be worth it. But largely what you're doing with this, if you're going to be Overwatching with a unit of Terminators or Paladins, you're giving them incinerators, and so they're auto hitting, and you don't need the 5-up. I can't imagine throwing this enhancement on like a Grandmaster and being like, hell yeah, now I'll hit on 5s with my Storm Bolters. Or maybe with my 6 Psy Cannon shots, maybe I'll get 2 Strength 8 AP1 2 damage shots out of this Overwatch.
If you're going to do anything like this, you're going to be using it with incinerators, which, alright, you don't need enhancements.
Yeah, I would have preferred something that kind of, I don't know, something that triggered off the idea of like falling back and charging again.
So like, the Sanctic Reaper is kind of neat.
It's cool.
It's pretty generic. It's literally just add 3 to attacks to
Yeah.
your melee, which, you know, if you're going to put it on Grandmaster Grandmaster or even a brother captain, a lot of damage, okay?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, and it's also only like 15 points, so it's a good little gap filler, and I'd rather have it than not.
But it doesn't really, the flavor's not really there.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't scream Terminators for me. I would have preferred a defensive enhancement here, something that was like, I don't know, once per game, this unit gets -1 to being wounded or whatever. Something that would have made your Terminators feel more resolute.
So, like, they have a strat. The Shining Resolve is opponents shooting.
It's only shooting.
Yeah, it's only shooting, and it targets one of your infantry. And there's a modifier of checking strength characteristics, toughness characteristics, but subtract 1 from the wound roll. So, like, it is actually a pretty decent defensive option, but, like, there's a bunch of modifiers.
It's, again, one of those things that I'm glad to have, but it feels too cautious. Like, somebody, when designing this, said, this would be too strong to also make it in the fight phase. Let's make sure it's only in the shooting phase. And I just don't see that. Because, like, Thousand Suns Terminators, they're just always -1 to wound, regardless.
Oh, man. You're bringing up fucking...
I know.
Talking about Thousand Suns. Oh,
I gotta be honest with you, man. This book trailing all of the fucking, like, Cult Legion books.
Holy shit, dude.
If this book came out early 10th edition, I think I'd be a lot more happy with it. But seeing every single enhancement, stratagem, what have you in this book that allows you to either move after a deep strike or 6-inch deep strike or move after shooting or something like that, all says, and you cannot charge next. Yeah. Which, fair, I understand. But then you look at stuff like Death Shroud and they're like, I don't care. Have a 6-inch deep strike. Charge after it. Lance, sustained, lethals. I don't give a shit. Fucking fuck them up.
Yeah, basically.
It's weird how cautious this book feels.
I feel like you might have nailed it there, though, of if this book came out in earlier 10th, and it's very possible this was basically designed in earlier 10th, it would have felt fine.
Yeah.
There was no real expectations. There's enough interesting stuff going on here, but, like, we're pretty far into 10th. We've seen other stuff, like, one of the big ones is, like, you brought Thousand Suns. Man, like, their armor rule brings back Psychic. I'm okay with the armor rule that we have staying. Like 10th edition Grey Knights is going to be this teleporty, uppy, downy. All right, okay. But, like, you've shown you understand how to bring Psychic back in 10th with Thousand Suns.
I was hoping there'd be one detachment that did something like that. The Psychic keyword is still almost entirely useless.
Or a downside.
There's so many units. All right, I want to get through the stratagems on this one because I do want to talk about Banishers, which is one of my favorites. But there are some cool stratagems in Hallowed Conclave. The ironically and unfortunately named Giants of the Battlefield is actually really good. It's just 1 CP. Terminator unit from your army just gets +1 to attacks. That's awesome. That rocks. Again, especially on Paladins. Like, that's really good. I can see myself, like, attaching the Grandmaster to a squad of Paladins, and then they get 5 attacks each every round. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's not, like, the most flashy of abilities kind of thing of, like, oh my god, it's doing all this cool shit, but just flat 1 attack characteristic is very, very strong.
Yeah,
it was nice to see that a bunch of the other strats, though, were calling out Grey Knight infantry, not just Terminator, because we've seen other detachments that GW's put together that are like, no, this is just that one unit. That's all you get. Don't fucking think about anything else.
Yeah, this isn't as bad as, like, the Genestealer Codex, which, regardless of its strength, the Genestealer Codex, it's very clear that each detachment is hyper-fixated on one unit type, which sucks.
Do this thing and only this thing.
Yeah, the detachments in here, they all feel like they apply to the entire army, which is great. It allows for a lot of really flexible list building.
Yeah.
The one strat that I just don't understand in this detachment, Point Blank Purgation, it's 1 CP, infantry units, until the end of the phase, Stormbolter weapons specifically, equipped by models in your unit, have the pistol and twin-linked abilities. I don't understand why this strat is in a detachment that allows you to fall back and shoot. Maybe twin-linked on it's just Stormbolters also. I'm sure there's edge cases, but I'm having difficulty imagining the situation where I'm going to spend a CP to shoot into my own combat with just my Stormbolters, as opposed to just falling back and shooting them.
Right. Honestly, it seems like a waste of CP.
Yeah, right? Maybe in another detachment it would have been cool, but...
Well, if they had, like, an actual shooting detachment, I could kind of see something like this of, like, okay, this is the shooting detachment, and we're trying to buff stuff, and, like, the Stormbolter shit, so we'll will give you a little bone.
Yeah, pistol and twin linked. I mean, I guess twin linked, but you're shooting into guardsmen, maybe.
But then, like, I don't give a shit. Like, guardsmen are melting in front of Grey Knights. That's the thing there, is like anything that point blank purgation is going to help against,
it's already dead.
I do enjoy the grind them underfoot. I don't know if it's like good. Fuck, I don't know. But having Terminator tank shock is hilarious.
It's really cool. So I played one game with this, and it was a ton of fun. I played it into Emperor's Children. I had a unit of 10 Terminators, and I was going to... they were lined up to charge fucking whatever the basic troops in ECR. And I was like, cool, I'll shoot them, and then in the charge phase, I'll be able to do this strat. It's only for each model that's in engagement range, so I'll probably only get to roll like 4 or 5 dice when I get there. And I thought about it, and I was like, I'm just going to use grenades.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do that instead. And so then I just did grenades, and I got 4 mortal wounds. I don't know. I have a hard time... Yeah. Our Terminators are the only Terminators, I think, in the whole game that have the grenades keyword, which rocks. But I don't know. Like, it's cool.
It does make this a little weird.
Yeah. Maybe there's a situation where if you used grenades, it would remove a few models and make the charge harder. So this is kind of like using grenades in the charge phase.
I hate seeing the to max of 6 mortal wounds on something like this, which is like, there's no way you're getting more than 6 unless it's just the like silliest rolling of dice.
Imagine I happened to base 7 Terminators into your unit, and then I rolled 7 4-ups. Are you really going to push up your glasses and be like, well, only max 6?
Yeah.
I've earned that at that point.
Yeah, except the fun story there of, holy shit, can you believe this just happened?
Yeah.
But it's still a fun strat.
It's neat. It's cool. You could do both. You could do grenades and then this.
Yeah, it's a lot of CP.
Like, it's a lot of CP.
At a certain point, you just have to accept that your Terminators are going to kill stuff in melee and not worry too much.
Yeah.
But overall, it'll work well for Terminators, but there's a little weirdness going on.
It's fun. This detachment encourages bringing big bricks of Terminators, which it's always so cool. Strong support for that. So I'm glad it exists. I mean, I had fun with it. I had a lot of fun with this one, which is important.
Yeah, I think it works a decent amount more with Paladins, and I think Paladins, they got a pretty great glow up in the Codex.
They did.
Whereas like Terminators got this weird like kind of side grade nerf thing going on.
Yeah.
I think they're still okay. It depends on where the points eventually land, but I'm not so sure about taking Terminators when I take Paladins to like really take full advantage of Hallowed Conclave.
The 3OC on Terminators is really nice. Paladins have 2, which is really good, but having 4 Terminators with like getting 12 OC in a point is really good. It's swung a couple of games for me, just being able to, in my command phase, regenerate 3 more OC onto a point.
Yeah, I could see, not with the smaller squad size, yeah, I could definitely, like, I'm trying to think of lists still because I have yet to play with the Codex, and I'm like, okay, we have the big brick of Paladins maxed out, all in, and then maybe a couple 4 of Terminator squads that they're more secondaries, point objectives, that kind of stuff, but they're still Terminators, so like, they're not just gonna disappear.
No, they'll still hold the line, hopefully. I really want Terminators to still have a purpose, so I'm gonna keep on pushing them.
And I think that works. It makes sense to me. But next up was Banishers, you said?
Banishers, baby.
So this is like our psychic detachment, which fucking I cannot accept that this is the psychic detachment.
Let me tell you a conversation I had with a guy at my club. I was when these previews broke like a week and a half or whatever it was ago, and people started talking about him, the Custodes player at our club, and I was like, hell yeah, I got this one detachment where my guys in melee with psychic weapons, I can make a leadership check, and if they pass, I get to choose sustained or lethals, which is really cool. And he just goes, oh, my guys just get that. And yeah. I was like,
you ever heard of Marshal Kata?
Yeah. He was like, yeah, mine just do that. And I was like, oh, that sounds good. I like that.
Good. Yeah.
I think this detachment has the most potential to it, in my opinion. I really like the idea of getting sustained and lethal. It sucks that it's bound to a leadership check. I'm glad there's no downside for failing the leadership check. That would have been a bad time.
Yeah, I think looking through it, it's like 75% chance that you're going to be passing. So it's not too bad, but like 1 in 4, you're still failing. If there was a downside, I would be fucking furious. This would be the most garbage garbage bullshit ever, but there isn't a downside. It's just 3/4 of the time you get to choose a fairly nice bonus.
Yes, which is, again, the Terminators used to just have lethals in the charge, which is really nice. This still can give them that. It feels really bad when you get a charge off with your unit, you get into melee with a vehicle, you roll to try to get lethals, and then you just don't. And you're like, there's nothing I can do. I guess this happened.
And it's not like earlier you said, if I'm relying on a deep strike charge, I've already lost.
Yeah.
This isn't quite like, this is like the inverse chance, right? Like that one's a like 1 in 4, maybe almost half if you're doing a reroll as well. This one's 75% of the time you're going to get, but like if you plan around that and fail, like 1 in 4 is still definitely possible to fail.
But it's not like it's something you can still mostly plan for, especially if you have redundancies, multiple units, that kind of thing. But
yes,
I also just so somebody brought this up to me the other day and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Ever since I started playing in like 2016, you have these relics or warlord traits that are these bullshit, like everybody in 6 inches gets +1 to leadership or whatever. And they're always garbage and they're always trash. And this is the one detachment where it would have been fucking awesome to have your Grandmaster, his unit gets +1 to leadership. And I'm like, hell yeah, that increases my odds to do the detachment rule. And I don't know, it's like, guys, you've been giving us these shitty leadership buffs in all of our codices for nearly a decade. Why did you stop here?
Yeah, I literally just looked again at the enhancements to make sure I wasn't overlooking something. Because like you bring that up and it sounds like a slam dunk of,
right?
Oh yeah, there is a chance, but hey, there's this enhancement that you can take that makes it basically guaranteed.
And the enhancements here lean into what I was saying about the Hallowed Conclave. This Banisher's detachment rule only works in melee. It is a melee detachment, and every one of the enhancements is a shooting enhancement. All of them.
Which, like, I sort of understand some aspect of, okay, we'll have a way to shore up some of the weaknesses that arise from the detachment rule being so focused on something else, but like, man, it's okay to do that a little bit, but then there's an aspect of like, you still have to, if this is a melee focused thing, you still have to hit those fundamental, okay, let's buff the melee still further, let's keep following through, don't just stop halfway through the swing.
There's a theme here. It could have been something like, you could have also like, I don't know, they could have done something like softening them up, like maybe this enhancement, whatever they shoot, you get a reroll leadership check for the Banishers test. Like, it doesn't, and that's kind of, what I was saying earlier, how it feels like they just sort of sprinkled the enhancements across the detachments. These could have been in any detachment, and they would have felt the same.
Yeah, and like a couple fine enhancements here, but like nothing is like really standing out to me, and none of them are like, oh wow, this hits so, just the flavor aspect is just oozing out of this enhancement combo going on.
Pyre Soul is cool. I like that Pyre Soul is just in the shooting phase, choose an enemy within 24 inches. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. I really like non-gated mortal wounds there. It's not a lot, but it's nice just being able to flat deal D3 without having to roll a 2-up or something like that. Pick a, like, maybe bracket a vehicle, or if there's like a fleeing solo character like trying to like get cover, you can just pick him off with this fucking thing.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that like I'll put it on my librarian and still feel kind of sad that I don't get Vortex of Doom, but like, hey, here's this.
Yeah, the stratagems in this detachment are all absolute bangers, though.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one of them that kind of sucks, and it's the Chaos one, but everything else is awesome.
So Chaos Bane is anti-chaos 4-up, and that's the kind of thing that, like, it adds flavor, and if 10th edition detachments weren't just 6 strats, 4 enhancements, and a rule, then it would be like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
This is that one extra little bit that, like, nobody fucking really cares about, but adds some flavor to Grey Knights and what Banishers detachment is trying to do. But we only have 6 strats.
The fact that it's eating up 16% of all of the strats in this detachment.
It's bullshit.
Also, it's only in the shooting phase.
Yeah, it's not particularly amazing.
Like, what, again, hooray, my fucking Stormbolters wound your Chaos Knight.
Yeah. But like you said, the rest of the strats are, honestly, they're just solidly good.
Hexrot Reprisal is so cool. Also, just flavor-wise, it's the one where you, at the end of a phase, Grey Knight's unit that suffered mortal wounds, you roll a die for every mortal wound they suffered on a 2-up. You throw those mortal wounds back at the unit that inflicted them. In my game against Necrons, I deep striked my shitty little Vendread, who I love, and he's not an active detriment to my army anymore. Like, he doesn't hurt me by being there anymore. Like, he can still play.
I'm so excited about talking about further in Santic Spearhead.
Dude,
keep going with.
So he touched down, and my opponent's turn came around, and he had Emotek, Stormlord. He did the fucking lightning blast that he can do once per game, and did 6 mortal wounds to my Dreadnought. And I was like, fuck yeah, Hexrot Reprisal. I'm gonna throw those mortal wounds back at you, Emotek, and just obliterated him. And that was really cool.
Yeah, this is another, like, it's similar to the Chaos Bane, but like works a lot more than just quite that. But like, that's the kind of one that it's super flavorful. It's not gonna come up that often, but when it does, it's pretty fun. It's kind of cool, and it's like, it does come up. Like, their mortal wounds are a thing that just exist in 40k, so like, we're not chaos or bust.
It's gonna discourage opponents from using grenades and tank shock, which is really powerful.
Yeah. Also, again, annoyed by the max of 6 mortal wounds. Like, they've already beat the shit out of me. Why do I need to have a limit?
Yeah.
That's dumb. It's dumb, okay? I understand that to a max of 6 mortal wounds is just a thing that exists, and like, part of it is our fault from 9th edition's, what the hell was it?
Yeah.
Rapiers or something like that, or I forget which one it was, where it was just like, oh, I'm just gonna throw out like 24 wounds. And it was like, all right, that's probably not okay. But like, then they do this kind of shit where it's like, man.
And that's what I mean, is there's, in this whole book, and the next stratagem is a really good representation of it. This whole book is all super cautious riders on the stratagem to make sure you can't do too good with it. So Warding Chant is the next one on my list. After enemy unit selects your Grey Knights unit, you can get a 5-up Feel No Pain on that unit against damage 1.
You want to do that line again? I think dogs are barking.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go kill him real quick. Until the end of the phase, models in your unit have a Feel No Pain 5-up. And I read that and was like, fuck yeah, that's going to save me from damage 3. I'm going to get that fucking damage 3 through.
It's so awesome. It sounds great.
And then against attacks with an unmodified damage characteristic of 1. And it's like,
And it's still like, maybe.
You couldn't just give me a 5-up Feel No Pain against one unit for one phase. Like, you had to say only against damage 1. Like, it's still, like, it's not bad. Again, I'd rather have that than nothing, but...
Yeah, like you said, the concern was the big damaging things. Like, Grey Knights are reasonably tanky. I'm not too worried about a lot of weapons that only do 1 damage. Those are already, like, we've got good saves. Like, how much AP is actually going to be on that 1 damage weapon? And then, yeah, you're like, oh, Warding Chant's gonna fix all that hole that's going on there about the big scary weapon.
Yeah, I'm thinking like autocannons, bloat drones, those guys with their 10, 2, 3 guns. I was thinking, fuck yeah, 5-up Feel No Pain, that's 1 in 3 dice. That'll save a Terminator every time damage goes through. And nope, never mind. Well, at least I have that against bolters. That's fine. Again, I'd rather have it than not, but so cautious.
Yeah, and then like they did give some like celerity is just a pretty blanket.
Celerity's great. Celerity's excellent.
Yeah, advance and charge.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
That's just good. Yeah, again, it's one of those, there's good stuff, but a bit too cautious. Yeah.
Yeah. Circle of Sanctuary, also good. I like it. It's a 12-inch no deep strike bubble around a character. That's awesome. Keep a librarian attached to that little 4-man like Terminator squad in your back line and just be like, stay away.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot more matchup dependent.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, it's nice to have access to that as like hey, in this matchup, I have an answer.
My immediate thought also was using that against 6-inch deep strike Death Shroud is like, oh god, that'd be so handy to be able to just be like, not these guys. You can kill everybody else in my army this turn, but not these guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, the strat Shadow of Anarch, that one has a lot of the like safety net aspect to it of like, oh, I'm kind of out of position. They did a thing that's scary and I'm just gonna go the fuck away.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's Miscedemus. It's going to be fucking great.
Yeah. There's some cool stuff with Banishers.
Mm-hmm. I like this one.
I feel like I would be a lot happier with it if it didn't have the leadership test, or like the leadership test, like you said, had some combo interaction. You know, there's an enhancement or like whatever. This character works really well with it. Because man, I know that the first time that I line up a nice charge and I'm like, this is going to be amazing when I get lethal hits on this and I fail, it's just going to be so demoralizing. crazy.
I've been there, and it isn't a good time. But again, I still think it's good. I still think it's a good detachment. Possible buffs are better than no buffs.
True. All right, next detachment. Is that Santic Spearhead?
Santic Spearhead, baby.
Hell yeah. So this is like the vehicle detachment.
Yeah. 6-inch advance on vehicles, and vehicles gain assault. Simple, straightforward, very cool. I did not get a good test for this one. I played against Chaos Knights, and he tabled me turn 3, so I didn't really get a good feel for how this one goes. I don't think it was the best example.
All right. Well, I mean, there is an obvious nombo of the normal Nemesis Dread Knights already have advanced shoot charge.
Yeah, and at the very least, this gives them a 6-inch auto advance like in the index detachment. It still helps them, but it's weird.
And like, I guess assault, fuck, I don't know, whatever, sure. It's not a nothing.
I think that's good on the Grandmaster Dread Knight. Him getting assault on the Melta and the Psy Cannon is really nice, but then he can't charge.
Well, and it does work better with the Grandmaster and Nemdread because it doesn't have the advanced shoot charge ability.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. And also, it's cool on Land Raiders. Like having a Land Raider with a 16-inch move, still getting to shoot his las cannons. That's kind of fun. It's kind of cool.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm trying to bring up something about the Venerable Dread, and I'm just like, it's still so silly. I'm gonna play the shit out of it.
He isn't. Again, he actually has the army rule and the detachment rules now. Before, he didn't. And he just sits there, literally doing nothing, costing you 155 points. But now, he's cheaper. And he can play with the rest of your army, which is, you know what? Also, Vendread is a character now, so he can get enhancements. I've yet to find one that's good for him. But
yeah, I was like, I'm not sure what the fuck I would do there, but it's an option. And I'm a sucker for the Venerable Dreadnought.
It's so great.
It's so silly.
It's so tiny.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the new Heresy models, but the new Praetor captain from like the Saturnine Praetor, he is bigger than a Venerable Dreadnought. It's wild.
The Venerable Dread is so, like, it's tiny when you look at it compared to the rest of Grey Knights. And then you play against like a Space Marine army with their Primaris, and you're like, you're so cute.
He's also the toughest non-tracked vehicle unit in our army.
Yeah, he's got the same toughness as like the Rhino and...
Yeah, he's a T9. He's tougher than a Dread Knight. It's wild.
All right, let's talk about the fucking Dread Knight's T8. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Especially like the Grandmasters also, like, oh my god.
Oh, it sucks. It sucks. Melta's wounding us on 3s is just...
It's honestly a big problem for survivability on any of our anti-tank, because like that's our anti-tank.
Yeah, I know they have a 4-up invuln. I know that's good. It's still a coin toss, and so many more wounds go through because of it. Anything strength 5 is wounding him on 5s, and that's just...
It's just that like random extra fire that's not like technically anti-tank fire. It's just like it's existing on the board in 40k, and it targets your Dread Knight, and you take 3 or 4 wounds, and it's like, well, what?
Shit.
That was out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. And coming back to autocannons again, like autocannons are so good against Dread Knights, especially like from the Predators where they get the AP2, because they're wounding Dread Knights on 3s, forcing us to the invulns, and then it's 3 damage for everyone that goes through. And they're usually like, what is it on a Predator? Like 6 shots or something like that? Ugh.
Something like that, yeah.
The enhancements here are, I think, in Santic Spearhead they're overall pretty good. Sigil of Exigence is here, which is great. I fucking love Sigil of Exigence. I'm glad that's in the vehicle detachment because you always put it on the Grandmaster. It's nice.
So that's the one where if your opponent tries to shoot you, you can go away and they have to choose to shoot somebody else.
Hell yeah. It's the shittiest feeling gotcha in Warhammer. I love it.
Yeah. But it's like, it's almost necessary at a certain point, especially when you're playing Santic Spearhead. You're pushing more vehicle type stuff, and like you need to make sure that shit lives as much as you can.
Yeah.
That's a really nice enhancement to have.
Yeah, I'm glad it's stuck around, and I'm glad it's in the detachment where you want to bring your Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knights. I think you always want to bring Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knights, but this is like the one that it's like designed for.
Yeah, it feels intended as opposed to just being like, this is the best data sheet we have, we're playing it.
Yeah.
The other enhancements,
they're fine.
There was the one transport disembark one that was like, all right, that's neat. I wish they did more with with the transport stuff. Or like there was an entire
Yeah.
detachment that was more focused on transport stuff as opposed to being baked into the vehicle ones.
So I think the one you're talking about, Spiritus Machina, Grey Knight's infantry model, in your shooting phase, each time the bear's unit is selected to shoot, if it jumped out of a transport this turn, it can reroll a wound roll. Again, just shooting phase on infantry models. So you're doing storm bolters, or at most, I don't know, side cannons. It is just in the shooting phase. Fucking Eldar, what are they called? Falcons. They give you reroll wounds for the rest of the turn, like just by getting out of them.
One of the guard vehicles also does the same thing.
Yeah. The guard vehicle detachment is you get +1 to wound when you jump out of a transport, which is just better.
Yeah. And I feel like there's enough for Grey Knights to get a detachment that's about transports, because the army rule of deep strike and teleporting around already does this like weird fight with how transports are moving infantry around. It's like, why do I need that when I can just deep strike everything always, everywhere, wherever I want, whenever I want, essentially, kind of thing. And it's like,
yeah, it's weird that of the Space Marine chapters, we get a lot of focus on transports. I don't know why.
and so like if we're gonna do that, all right, let's do it, kind of thing. Let's have an actual like detachment.
Give me that +1 to wound.
Yeah, that's like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. There's some combo potential going on here. Okay, I understand. Meanwhile, it's just baked into this, honestly, this Dread Knight detachment.
That's exactly what it is. And I think the strats sort of lean into that as well, it being a Dread Knight thing, because a lot of them reference Grey Knight Psyker Vehicle, which is just Dread Knights or Venerable Dreadnought. And I don't know, the stratagems in this detachment are overall, I think, good. You have the Feel No Pain Against Mortal Wounds. You have Shoot and Declare a Charge in a turn in which I fell back. Move Through Walls.
The move through walls one is like kind of necessary.
It's very good.
Force Wave, because without that, your threat range is, even with the advanced 6, is still a problem from a lot of like board layouts of terrain.
And Dread Knights, because of their oval bases, also always have to consider pivoting when they go around terrain. So being able to just bypass that, I imagine, is really nice. Again, my game against Chaos Knights, I didn't really get to experiment with these things. He brought 2 despoilers, so they reached shooting out their fucking 36 shots or whatever it is was sustained, and it was just like, oh, everything you look at dies. Cool, fun.
Yeah, especially given that you were playing a bunch of vehicles, it was like, yeah, you're not really hiding too well, so... Okay. There's also just like some generic nice ones about like regain 3 lost wounds at your command phase.
Which I, again, imagine is very cool when your vehicles don't exist in a full strength or dead state.
I think the Abominus class targets will be quite nice.
It's objectively great. It's very good.
Is shoot or fight, and then it's just a Grey Knight unit from your army. You're good. Choose whatever is going on, kind of thing. And anytime you attack a monster or vehicle, add 1 to the wound roll.
It's magnificent. Paladins are going to love that.
Yeah, honestly, I think one of the most exciting strats from I finally have answers to problems that have been so annoying.
Thank you. Give me a way to punch up. That's all I ask for.
Yeah, this one does a great job of, yes, technically there are modifiers of its only monster or vehicle, but again, like when I want to add 1 to the wound roll, generally monster vehicles, like that's the thing that I need to die. Like the rest, we'll probably figure it out, but I don't know. The detachment itself is kind of exciting. Hopefully you'll be able to play another one that's not against Chaos Knights just tabling you.
I'm sure I'll find it, yeah.
But I'm legitimately excited about bringing this, and I get you're just gonna max out on Dread Knights, but I also still want to play like my Dreadnoughts, and it won't be quite as good, but
yeah, Dreadnoughts. Maybe a Storm Raven.
I don't know if I'll go that far. I kind of hate aircraft.
No. I was kind of hoping they'd remove them from this book. I would not have been sad. I have painted up all of the aircraft, and if they just were like, they're not in this book, I would have said, okay, that's fine. See ya.
Right. That's about right.
They've had the same data sheets for like 3 editions, and nobody ever takes them.
No. And in 10th, it's just hilarious.
Yeah. Shall we talk about the last detachment?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've also got the Grotmist.
Oh, yes, true.
Augurium. This is a fascinating detachment to me.
It's really cool. This one, it ties with Banishers for me, for the ones I'm most excited about. It's Teleport Strike ++, it feels like.
This is the detachment that feels the most, your army rules about redeployment finesse kind of stuff going on there. How about we take an entire detachment and just crank it up to 12?
Yeah, it seems very strong, which it kind of leans into the way I've been having to play Grey Knights for the last 2 years, but just gives a lot of bonuses to that. For anybody who hasn't looked at it, if you didn't pick up all of the units you could at the end of your opponent's turn, at the start of your next movement phase, you can pick up a unit and put it into to deep strike and then bring it down at the end of that movement phase.
Strategic reserves.
Strat reserves, yeah.
Because again, it works with the army rule and all the like stuff going on there. That isn't just like the fancy, weird Grey Knight ones. It's like, no, it's just in strat reserves. You can do whatever you want. And the designer's note is fantastic. This is exactly when we need a designer's note to let people know, hey, it is intended that you can bring it back in the same phase. That is not angle shooting.
Yep, yeah, no, exactly. It's specifically like you can score points in your command phase and you can see what your secondaries are. This was on purpose.
That's one of the downsides to the whole Gate of Infinity army rule is like you have to choose it at the end of your opponent's turn essentially. So you can miss out on scoring your own objectives. You won't know what secondaries you're going to be drawing. So you don't know, oh, I should have left that unit there. It would have been in a perfect position to do thing.
Yeah.
This one, prescient redeployment in this detachment is like, no, you can still do all that, but you also have the ability to pick up a unit after scoring, after figuring out secondaries, and you can come back in that same turn again. It's not just like, oh, we picked it up after it did its thing and it's gone for an entire round.
Yeah, I think this is objectively very strong, and I'm excited to play around with it. It's the kind of one that feels like it's going to need a bit more like practice and forethought, a more cerebral detachment, which I like. Again, like that's something that feels like it has some longevity to it, whereas Banishers gives the sort of straightforward, you get buffs thing, which I also appreciate.
This one's definitely the detachment that rewards the more experienced player.
Mm-hmm.
The more knowledgeable you are at 40k, the more experience you've had with, where positioning is, what to expect on what you can draw for secondaries, how to like deploy in ways that make sense. The more you can understand and know what to do, the more powerful this kind of ability is. And I mean, that's for Grey Knights in general because of Gate Infinity. But this detachment takes it to a next level. Dude, they even have a strat that lets you do another one.
It's so cool.
Redirected strike is like, hey, how about you have another chance of picking up your units? It's wild. I can't believe they gave you that strat.
It's really neat. This detachment does have probably, in my opinion, the most frustrating stratagem in the whole book, which is Appointed Hour. Shooting or fight phase, Grey Knight, Psyker, crits on 5s.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It isn't in Banishers.
It would be great if in Banishers because of sustained hits from your thing.
Yeah, and so without being in Banishers, you can go through the entire codex, and there are 2 things that actually have critical hit abilities. It is the Brother Captain giving lethals to the unit he's attached to, and silencers with their sustained 1. Who's gonna do that? Like, who's gonna be like, oh, my Grandmaster has a 12-shot silencer, I'm gonna pay a CP to give it crit 5s.
I might do that just because it's kind of funny, but like that would be a poor strategic decision.
Yeah, because then you get plus 3 or 4
yeah.
AP 0 1 damage shots.
The silencer itself is not amazing.
It's just wild that this isn't they give him this stratagem, and there's essentially 1 unit that can make use of this, the Brother Captain with his lethals. It's such a weird decision.
It's not bad when it's combined with the Brother Captain giving lethal hits, crits on 5.
No, but it could have just said target Brother Captain instead.
Yeah, kind of, right? Yeah, I'm glad that you also looked through and tried to find something, because I was trying to put together some show notes here so I act like I know what I'm talking about, even though I haven't played with the Codex yet. I was like, dude, it's the Brother Captain. I'm scouring. What was intended for this? What did the designers mean? And it's apparently...
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like this one was supposed to go into Banishers, and then they just, I don't know, missed.
Yeah. The more and more we look at this, I'm like, yeah, maybe they did just draw them all up, put them in a bowl and pick.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why Forewarned Evasion is only targeting walker units as well. It's 1 CP, subtract 1 from the hit roll against walkers. It's again something I'm glad to have, but why is it only targeting Dread Knights?
Yeah, it's a little weird. It kind of makes sense in this detachment though, from a flavor aspect of like, oh, prescient, I saw ahead of time that you were gonna do this, so like defensive thing.
I agree completely, but it should go onto anybody, not just the Dread Knights.
Yeah.
That feels like a vehicle detachment strat.
It really does, doesn't it? Yeah, I have some concerns about the Mirage of Echoes, just for like the gotcha aspect of it. So this one is like at your opponent's movement. You can basically hop in like D-Strike into strategic reserves if they move close to you.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonably strong, especially in some matchups. It's going to be like, holy shit, this is necessary. And a lot of times I feel like this is necessary is going to be a gotcha of like your opponent wouldn't have made those decisions if they had like, if you had properly been like, hey, there's a possibility of this 1 CP.
It's going to be a nice deterrent against Death Shroud, which I guess is what I'm looking for these days.
I feel like you've brought that up a couple times. There must be a couple stories going on there.
We have a couple of Death Guard players in our club, and I played against Death Guard twice at Tacoma, and then every time it was just, the game feels like it's going well, and then turn 2 or 3, my opponent's like, here's 3 units of Death Shroud Terminators with attached characters. They're deep striking 6 inches from you. They're going to succeed on their charge and get lethal, sustained, and lance. And I was like, I guess I die. And they're like, yeah. And I go, what was I supposed to do? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Somehow screen better.
Yeah, there's more bodies, I guess.
Yeah, right. Because Grey Knights is known for that.
Yeah, and just them coming in, swinging, wounding my Terminators on 2s, and it's just like, fuck, man. Ugh.
Speaking of Terminators dying, Necessary End is a fun way of doing fights on death.
It's really cool. I like it. Yeah, it's a fun little way of doing fight on death.
Because like fights on death is strong, and like this will be pretty good. But like at a certain aspect, fights on death can be kind of boring.
Yeah, I like that this one is kind of like, it encourages, I don't know, I'm thinking like World Eaters or something. Somebody gets a fucking crazy turn 1 charge, and you're like, sick, I fight on death on 2s. All right, let's go for it.
Yeah, and you roll a d6, and if it's greater than the battle round, you do the fight on death. So the earlier you are, the better it is. Which, yeah, duh, that's how fight on death generally works with strats of like, the earlier in the game it is, the more chance it has of doing more damage. Like, that's just how 40k fucking works. So
yeah, it encourages, I think, riskier turn 1 plays, which I always appreciate.
Which is fantastic in this detachment that lets you jump more units that are like, I've been aggressive in my deployment and I moved into ways that are like pretty fucking aggressive. I'm also gonna still get to score points and look at my secondary if I want to keep being that aggressive, or I can get away. And then there's this like, oh, also fight on death option. Cool.
I like it. I think it's really neat. And again, I know I feel I sound down on this codex, but there are a lot of aspects to it that I do think are really neat, and I'm excited to play around with.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the enhancements on this, not the most interesting to me, but Grimoire of Conjunctions.
Yeah, that's silly.
So once per battle, you can add 4 to the strength of melee, and I'm just looking at like the Grandmaster with his once per battle ability to add 3 attacks and strength. So you're looking at 8 attacks at strength 13.
It's so silly. I love it.
Hell yeah.
You're still in the AP2 and damage 2, but it's very cool. Again, a little bit of opportunity to punch up once per game. I like it.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun when you put, like, on its own, Grimoire of Conjunctions is like, it's fine. And then, like, Grandmaster has its ability, and that's pretty cool. But then you're like, you look at it and you're like, I put these 2 together, and that's just silly and awesome.
Yeah.
I did a combo thing.
I did it. I did something.
Yeah. And given tenths, removing a lot of the character customization of options, you lose some of the, I did this thing. It was really, really silly, and it was kind of fun. So when I get to see stuff like that, it stands out of like, we're still having fun here in 40k, bro.
There's a combo. We can do it. Yay. Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's fun, and I'm probably going to throw it on a Grandmaster at some point just for the silliness of it.
Oh, yeah. It feels like you have to do it at least once kind of thing.
Yeah. Shield of Prophecy, I wish it was just -1 to wound. So that's the one that's Grey Knight's model once per battle. At the start of the battle round, the bearer can use enhancement. If it does, until the end of the battle round, add 2 to the toughness characteristic of models in the bearer's unit. I wish it was just -1 to wound. I did this against Chaos Space Marines, and he brought a bunch of Traitor Guard, and they had a bunch of Meltas and plasma guns. And I was like, well, my paladins are T7 now. And he was like, cool, everything's still wounding on 3s because of how that works. The strength 9 and 8 for the Melta and the plasma. And I was just like, damn, that made literally no difference.
Yeah. Grey Knights, yeah, they have Terminators, but like generally our toughness is not that amazing. So adding 2 is like, I feel like that story is how it's generally gonna go of,
yeah,
I tried and it didn't really matter.
think it's going to be really good against specifically Strength 6 attacks, which I think are fewer and far between aside from Grey Knight's melee.
Great. The mirror matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything else in this detachment, but the detachment rule itself and a couple of these strats are going to be...
Overall, it seems really fun. This one feels like you could really play into it and be really competitive with it.
Oh, I think so. Absolutely. And it'll play like 10th edition Grey Knights have been, where a lot of it is strategic decisions on how you're scoring points, as opposed to tabling your opponent.
Which is just what Grey Knights are in 10th edition. And it's fun. I do miss playing Warhammer and not just trying to get as many points as possible.
Right. I mean, we still have the Grotmus Detachment, Warpbane Taskforce. And as much as you said you kind of burned out on it eventually, I'm still having a lot of fun with my fucking Purifiers.
And Purifiers are so good now.
Purifiers
Holy shit.
got a massive buff. Holy shit. Purifying Flame is AP2 now.
They are insane. They're AP2 and Purifiers reroll 1s to wound. So your anti-infantry 2 rerolling 1s to wound.
Or just rerolling full wounds if it's at an objective.
Which is good, but they don't even need it if they're wounding infantry on 2s anyway. Like, it's wild. And yeah, and in the Warpbane Task Force, they're rerolling their hits. It's because they're always in their own hallowed ground. You're basically hitting with everything and wounding with everything and then forcing a ton of -2 saves on your opponent. It's really, really good.
Yeah, and you toss Crow in there, still giving his buffs with the extra attack. I've been having, like, it's one of those things, like I said earlier, 10th edition Grey Knights, I haven't really played it too much. I played some Grotmus here with the Warpbane. It's still so fun to me, and this is just that, like, extra little buff that's not so little, honestly, in this detachment. That's like, ooh, I'm gonna do some dirty shit with this. And this is not gonna feel like a lot of Grey Knights in 10th edition of focusing on objectives, secondaries. This is gonna be, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot you.
It's nice to have that option. And I feel better about Warpbane now that we have the Codex because, again, there's just more options. And that's the best part of all this, is that I have a lot more toys to play with, like options. I didn't literally get any new toys to play with, but I have a lot more like things to do. I think the reason that I bounced off Warpbane was because I'd been wanting something for so long with new Grey Knights Detachment, and then we got, here's reroll 1s, and I was like, fuck, I guess that's good, but it's boring. And so now having that to lean into if I want to do other things is also, I'm sure I'll come back to it and also enjoy that more.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Warpbane Task Force is definitely kind of like an outlier, and I love it for that aspect. Like, a lot of the Codex detachments, I mean, there's only like 5 of them, which is its own problem as far as I'm concerned, but that's 10th edition. They're still doing what Grey Knights in 10th edition have been doing. Nothing's that crazy. Nothing's like the Grotmus detachment of, oh, we're playing an entire different strategy going on here. You need to, rewire what your expectations are. It's one of those things that I feel like this Codex was missing.
Oh, agreed, completely. I feel better about Warpbane now that we have all of the other options from it. I think it's obviously the Purifier change is the most important thing, I think, for Warpbane. It's going to make them even more unstoppable. It is weird that it's sort of like the new change sort of nullifies the Sanctified Kill Zone strat from Warpbane, which was target a unit, reroll a wound roll of 1, or reroll all the wound rolls if your unit's a Purifier squad. And it's like, well, now Purifiers just do that natively, so this does nothing.
That is true.
But you're going to be jumping up and down with Crow and 10 Purifiers, and then probably a couple units of 5 Purifiers just zipping around the board, just blasting everything to ash, which is very cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited. Honestly, I really am excited for it.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Maybe this is just me, but I feel like I want to keep tossing Venerable Dreadnoughts into stuff, and like, I think it can work with their ability.
Yeah, because I mean, he does give +1 to hit, so that would mean your Purifiers are wounding on 2 or hitting on 2s, which is really cool.
It's probably not worth it just because like the Purifiers in Warpbane Task Force itself are already like
fucking shit up. Yeah,
it's just another one of those, like, I want to try units that I never fucking used the Venerable Dreadnought in 9th.
No, he's never been good.
Yeah, and I want to, like, we only have so many data sheets. We're not the worst faction in that aspect, but we're not Space Marines. So like, when I see a sheet like the Venerable Dreadnought and I'm like, I want to play this, how do I jam it in there, kind of thing? And I think there's several detachments and I'm like, this has me thinking. Nothing's like, oh shit, this is the way to do it. But it has me thinking.
Most of the detachments are usable. There's none that are just absolute dog water, like First Company Task Force and Space Marines. No one's ever used.
I mean, there's a decent amount that are just bad, but like there's a design behind them that you're like, all right, fine, it's an internal balance problem. You need to buff some numbers, drop some points, whatever. But like core functionality works. The core functionality of all of these detachments work.
Yeah, there's some weird mismatching with the fucking strats and whatnot, but overall, I'm excited to have new ways to play. I would have really loved a pass over all of our weapons to redo them. Can we talk about the Grandmaster and his weapons?
Yeah, I think we've kind of talked like the detachments. So like I talked a little bit about the data sheets, but this is our one new quote unquote unit.
Asterisk. Yeah, the new upgrade sprue, not the new model. The new upgrade sprue was locked behind a $240 battle force full of units that have been around for 15 years. And even me, because I own a store, I could buy it at wholesale, but I was just like, I can't spend $150 or $40 or whatever it is on fucking 20 more Terminators when I already have 70 Terminators and a bunch of Strike Marines just for the upgrade sprue. And I was feeling a ton of FOMO, being like, fuck, I'm not going to have that cool new weapons for the Grandmaster. And then the Codex came, and aside from the Sublimator, his Melta, God, his weapons suck ass.
Yeah, it's one of those that like I wasn't really excited about, even the way like the flail looked. It's fine.
No.
But like the hammer's just cooler. The sword's just cooler.
Yeah, the flail, its only ability is psychic. It's 10 swings, hitting on 2s, strength 5, minus 1 AP, and 2 damage. For a giant 20-foot walker, like, it's strength 5. That's insane.
It's the sweet profile of the sword, but an extra damage.
Yeah, and you can't, and you don't even have another profile to do, like, something big with it. I can't imagine the thought process behind designing the flail, making it look stupid, locking it behind a giant...
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, and like, yeah, and then locking it behind a $200+ battle force and giving it bad rules. Like, what was the goal there?
Yeah, the melee weapon, part of it is because the Nemesis Dreadnought still has its hammer, and it wasn't just turned into generic Nemesis Force weapon. So like, you had the hammer and the sword, and it's like, those two basically cover most of your problems, so we don't need another weapon. Like, we don't need another melee weapon.
Yeah, I wish they had buffed the sword. Instead of giving it 2 new melee weapons that don't do anything, I wish they had buffed the sword. Its sweep is so sad, and its strike is a d6 damage, which is just, that doesn't feel good.
It's fine, but it doesn't feel good when you're rolling not well.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, just like buff the sweep to 2 damage, and we no longer need the Nemesis Flail.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, we can change the strike to something, even if it's like D3 plus 2.
I'd love a flat 3 damage. I'd be happy with that. Yeah.
Something that's a little bit more, we have some consistency there.
Something that can reliably deal with like Terminator bodies.
Yeah. The mace, I don't know, I guess it's got precision and it's anti-character, so like it has technically sort of a point, but also if I just hit something hard enough, everything dies, including the character.
Yeah, like...
Right?
With the Grandmaster's reroll hits, wounds, and damage against vehicles and monsters, statistically, it's still better than the Nemesis Mace.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine a situation. I guess if you are looking at like, I don't know, big fucking squad of like Chosen or something, and you're like, I really want to kill the Chaos Lord that's attached to them, and you run up with your Nemesis Mace and you anti-character to him, and maybe you kill him, but then you just die to all the Chosen.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
That said, though, the Sublimator, it's neat. Melta 4. I couldn't remember. I was like, it's Melta a shitload. I know that.
I'm really happy to have a Melta finally. Like, that's really cool. No complaints there. It's a cool little adjustment. It's going to be great with Deep Strike in 6 inches. I love it.
I think that Deep Strike 6 option makes a lot more sense with the Sublimator.
Yep. I do. I keep going back to Chaos Knights. The game I played against Chaos Knights, I fired the Sublimator, because I just kit bashed one. I didn't want to buy the new sprue, but I fired the Sublimator into a War Dog, and I was like, all right, so wounding on 4s, and he was like, 3s, I'm only T9, and I was like, yeah, I know, I'm strength 9. He was like, really? And I was like, yeah, and he's like, my thermal spear is strength 12, and I was like, fuck you, I know.
I feel like they didn't want to change too many of the weapons, and they looked at it and they're like, we can't have the Sublimator have the same strength or more than the heavy Psy Cannon.
I want a weapon that's strength 12, please.
But realistically, the heavy Psy Cannon should be, strength 12, and then we can have Sublimator at strength 10 or something like there's some numbers that it would be nice if they pumped a little bit.
It feels like they're so scared of making us do anything into vehicles and monsters, taking away the Terminator squad's lethals, removing the chaplain's +1 to wound. I was so surprised by that, and the Black Templar's Codex comes out the same day, and their chaplains retained +1 to wound, and I don't know what the thought process is throughout this book. Like, the Purgation Squad, they have their new ability that's, rather than shitty indirect firing, it's -2 to advance and charge rolls. Not against monsters and vehicles, it says.
I do remember that one now that you say that, because I remember going, it was like a weird indirect fire, but it like wasn't greatest, but it was kind of fine. Oh, this looks kind of neat, this new one. And then excluding monsters and vehicles. And I was like, well, fuck, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's weird how they exclude monsters and vehicles from a lot of things here. And they also, the Paladin's ability, which is add 1 damage on the charge, very good. It specifies Paladin squad models, so it doesn't apply to the attached character. Which, what were they afraid of with that? Were they afraid of that the Grandmaster's fucking 622 weapon would go up to 623?
Right. It can't have been the Grandmaster, because it's already, you hit a threshold that's like, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Voldus getting a strength 4 hammer in melee, but there's already so many characters in the game who deal fuck tons of damage anyway. It feels weirdly cautious throughout the whole book. And I know I've said that a bunch, but I keep coming back to it.
Yeah, no, I don't really care that much that it's a call out to the Paladin squad only, because like it's, you were gonna add 1 damage to the character weapons, and like, yeah, that matters, but you keep bringing up more and more of these examples of like, but why did you have to add that modifier, that downside, that chance to fail? Why?
It's very strange. I think it's going to take some adjustment, like moving through and figuring out what is good, what is terrible, etc., etc.
To be fair, like a lot of things didn't really change, or they were like side grades. So like your Dread Knights, still amazing.
Still incredible.
The Strike squads, the Interceptor squads, they're still doing their things.
I think Strike squads are still really good. I still think they're overcosted by maybe 10 points, but they're still really good basic troops. Scout and Sticky is really nice.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%, but like they've been good. There was an entire point in Grey Knights that strike squads were ridiculous, and there was no point in taking Terminators.
Yeah, that sucked. That was so sad.
Because it was like, I could just take strikes instead, and they're potentially better. But a lot of those, like, I don't think Voldus has changed. I'm pretty sure he's the same.
He's got a better psychic weapon, and that's it. And Hammer of Flame doesn't have any bonuses against demons anymore, but that's it.
Okay, sure.
There isn't a single anti-demon thing in this entire book, now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh, that was Chaos, wasn't it?
Specifically Chaos. I played against Eldar, and he brought the Avatar, and I was like, fucking Chaos, Bane. He was like, Avatar's not Chaos. And I'm like, it's a demon. And he said, yeah, it's not Chaos. And I was like, fuck. All right, shit. I guess I can't do anything against this demon here.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's really weird. And honestly, it's kind of odd that, like, if you're going to make something specific call out, this is Grey Knights, we're the anti-demons.
Yeah. You don't want to make any one army good against any particular other army, but still, if there was one, it could be us.
But like, if you're already gonna do a call out to anti-chaos,
yeah, right? Why not make it more specific?
We've already narrowed it down a decent amount. How about we actually do the thing? Yeah, so like, missing stuff, the librarian, man, what did you do to my boy?
Another thing that was good into vehicles, the librarian.
To be fair, I don't think they wanted the librarian to be good into vehicles on that, so I get it, but like, come on.
He did at Tacoma. He killed himself in 3 of my games with his mortal wound thing. So maybe it's for the best.
Maybe it's for the best. But like, that was fun.
Yeah, it was cool. It was neat. It was the closest thing we had to our old psychic powers.
Exactly. Oh man, it's so sad to see it go. That was my thing, like in early 10th before we had the Grotmist, that I was like, oh, I get to do the Brotherhood librarian.
3 of them.
Deep Strike, Doom. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's fine now. Like, the librarian librarian's not bad, depending on points, but
his like shitty loan op, like soft loan op, I guess, the 18 inches.
Yeah.
I can see that being useful.
It's fine, but it's not exciting. There's nothing exciting about the new librarian.
His Nemesis Force weapon is still inexplicably AP1. I don't know why. It was that way in the index.
I'll be honest, I never really cared.
No one did, but it just shows like a lack of...
But like it should be 2. This is a character.
Yeah, like why is it... it's a weird oversight that shows people didn't pay certain amounts of attention.
Yeah, the default is 2, and it's also a character.
Is he putting less psychic power into his fucking blades?
Yeah, right.
He just can't be asked.
He's busy reading.
Yeah.
There's good stuff. It is exciting that we have new detachments, but there's a lot missing stuff. And there's a lot of disappointment as well. Like Keldor Drago's gone. We had a reliable way to charge from Deep Strike. It wasn't perfect, but you could plan it. It was a thing that you would like, this is 40k, we roll dice, sometimes you snake eyes. Shit happens. But you plan around not snake eyesing kind of thing.
You had more than a 50% chance of success though, and that was what's important.
Yeah.
And they don't, like, as far as the character himself,
I fucking hated that model.
Yeah, it sucks. That model sucks. I'm also a big proponent of, like, I like less epic heroes on the table personally because I want the game to be about my characters. As soon as, like, Gilliman shows up or whatever, the fucking story's about Gilliman. It's no longer about Captain Bingus, who I made it. So Drago himself being gone, I am okay with. He had a very specific role in the army mechanically, and nothing has replaced that.
And I think that's really what, I don't have anything negative against epic heroes. I don't have anything positive for him either, generally. I don't care. It's a character that I can't customize, but it does a unique thing usually. All right, fine. Positives, negatives, whatever. Don't care. Keldor Drago played and has played since I started getting into 40k in a unique, fun way. It did something that like is different. It added a complexity layer to Grey Knights in play.
There is a very specific role that he played, and nothing has filled that. I wanted a character. I wanted one fucking new model.
Dude, I'm honestly okay with Keldor Drago's model going away. I fucking hated that model. I lost the sword a bunch of times. It's now actually gone. It's in the basement that we play at somewhere, or it's been vacuumed up. Don't know. Don't care.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody with an intact banner on his back.
Yeah, the model's not good. The model on play was super fun.
Yeah.
Having that go away, I think there's a decent amount of people that are like disappointed that Keldor Drago's gone because they like the epic heroes. But even if we're not at that aspect, and it's like, okay, Keldor Drago's off doing his thing. We don't need him in the rules at the moment, but we got this new character that does a thing, and it's just, it's a generic purgation squad leader or something, like fucking...
Yeah, that would have been so cool. Like a generic Purifier champion would have been rad. I was really hoping for a, like, Grand Brother tank fucker who would have one psychic shot that is just, like, strength 14, AP 4, flat 6 damage or something. Just one asshole who's like, I'm here to destroy vehicles. But alas, nothing.
Yeah, we lost Stern as well. I don't think anybody really cares about that one.
I don't think anybody has played Stern since like 5th edition.
I tried playing him once last edition. Then I realized that I don't actually have the model, and I just subbed it in for something else because I was already like, I made this list, whatever. Nobody cares that I'm playing against. So like that one there is Stern, and it fucking died like immediately, and I didn't get...
nobody cared.
All right, there's a reason I don't own that model.
Yeah.
Servitors are gone. Good. They were pointless.
I actually was having a lot of luck with servitors in the last couple of months. I knew they were leaving, so I didn't commit to them, but I had one unit with 2 multi-meltas that I would throw into strat reserves, and turn 3, they'd walk on the board, maybe get me behind enemy lines, maybe do some damage, and if not, fuck it, they're 40 points. I don't give a shit. I liked them, but I also understand why they're gone.
And that is why I'm glad that they're gone, is because they did that one thing of, they came in behind enemy lines, got that. Maybe they put some damage out. Cool, 40 points, 50 points, whatever. It's so cheap. It's like, it doesn't matter. I don't like that for Grey Knights. We have enough like repositioning stuff that I want to enjoy the elite feel. And servitors were just like, nah, fucking lol.
I was hoping we'd get some sort of like, again, I could talk about things I was hoping for forever, but I was hoping for like, I don't know, like a neophyte or initiate style thing to give us like a cheaper like scout option almost. Something with infiltrate would have been cool.
We don't have any infiltrators. Terminators.
Not in the whole book. Nope. Fucking assassins, I guess.
Which there's several call-outs that like that doesn't really work in a bunch of detachments for strats and stuff like that, which is good.
No. Oh, there is one negative change to the Gate of Infinity army rule that I meant to talk about earlier. It does specify that every model in the unit needs to have that rule now, so you can't attach like an Inquisitor to a squad of Terminators and have her deep strike with them, which is too bad. I don't think anybody was doing that, but it just removes some verisimilitude.
I think a couple people had played around with it. It doesn't really matter, but it's also kind of dumb that it was allowed.
I liked it. I thought it was fun. It wasn't like good, but it was fun.
I think if I'm going to have a moment to be annoyed and complain, in 10th edition, Psychic went away essentially.
Yeah.
Any Psychic stuff was either a negative because it had, the tag word and nothing really mattered other than like, oh, it's better against Psychic, anti-Psychic 4-ups or something like that. And although like spells were like kind of pushed into weird abilities that didn't feel like spells, and okay, I'm not happy, but like this is 10th. Hopefully we'll figure it out on 11th. We'll see. And if this codex for Grey Knights came out earlier in 10th, I'd be like, yeah, all right, this is Psychic in 10th.
This is how 10th is.
But we got Thousand Suns codex just a little while ago. Not the most perfect, amazing codex.
Pretty good though.
Pretty good. And they showed they understand Psychic, and it is possible to put that into 10th's rules. It gave me some hope. I was like, it's probably unlikely that they're gonna really go all in on it. I would be happy if they changed the army rule to be more like this, but I know a lot of people won't, and that's fine. But I can see a detachment. We're gonna get at least a detachment that's gonna show me Psychic again. We're gonna get something that's like the Librarius Conclave detachment that's flavored kind of like 9th Masters of the Warp. And it's not gonna be perfect, and I'm not gonna be like, this is the greatest thing ever. And hopefully it's not too overpowered and needs to be nerfed, but, exists. That'll be great.
It's that clip of Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle saying, I expected nothing and I'm still disappointed.
It's so true, especially because we have Banishers. We have a Psychic-focused detachment that feels nothing like a Psychic-focused detachment.
No.
I don't hate Banishers.
You could take away the Psychic keyword from every weapon in the book and nothing would change.
It would be a buff.
Yeah.
And it's so tough because, like, we have 6 detachments now, 5 in the Codex with Grotmus. There's some decent differences between them, so you can have unique lists and it can play a little different and all that stuff. There's a lot of potential detachments that don't exist. There's a lot of design space that they could have filled in. Part of 10th, just why are you limiting detachments so much? There's no fucking reason that any faction should have. Honestly, there should be no faction that's less than 8 detachments. It's not that difficult.
Fucking Chaos Space Marines, goddamn them.
Yeah, and to see a codex that comes out with detachments that are fine, but also missing key points, like we could have an actual shooting focused detachment. Something like Banishers, but ranged instead of melee. Just like make that little keyword swap there.
Would it also have killed them to just have Banishers also work in shooting?
Yeah, even that. Sure, if you're gonna have so few detachments, yeah, let's, make them a little bit more generic. But come on, man, there's a lot of holes. I am happy about 10th edition Codex for Grey Knights. We've got new detachments. I'm honestly looking forward to playing some games with it.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I haven't played the Index detachment for basically like the first year it came out. I played a couple games, and then I was like, I'm just gonna go play Orks. I've played the Grandmaster detachment a couple times. I'm now excited to go play some Banishers. I'm excited for Santic Spearhead. Hell, I'm even kind of excited about Brotherhood Strike.
Brotherhood Strike might be the least exciting for me just because of...
It's pretty generic.
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, the same reasons that I wasn't super stoked about Warpbane. Rerolls, good, but like not like the most exciting thing.
Right. And so it's one of those that like, yeah, I'm on board, but man, GW missed a lot of easy wins. Fucking give me back hammers.
Why?
That's an easy win. That's the easiest fucking win.
You could call it heavy nemesis weapon if you really were allergic to the name hammer. Just say the Justicar in each squad can take a heavy nemesis weapon. Give it strength 9. Who cares? Like,
easiest fucking win ever.
Someday a model refresh, and then they will give the detachments and the weapons the love they need.
I mean, yeah, obviously a range refresh where the Terminator scale is increased. They're not quite as silly looking elites compared to current scales of 40k with Primaris. But like that was not really expected in 10th.
It's why the stratagem in Hallowed Conclave called Giants of the Battlefield just makes me be like, why? You're taking the piss now.
It's theoretical giants of the battlefield.
Philosophical giants of the battlefield.
Right.
Ugh.
It's tough. And I think a lot of that is why there's mixed reactions to this codex of like, yeah, there's some cool stuff, but like there's some pretty obvious misses.
Yeah, I'm still gonna have fun with it. I'm happy to just have new rules. Like, I'm excited to play around with that and figure out what works for me and what doesn't. And ultimately, it's just a moment in time. In a couple years, we'll get an entire range refresh, and everybody will be like, "It's fucking bullshit how much GW loves fucking Grey Knights," as they do every time anybody gets a new range.
Yeah, and it'll be like, can't believe I have to spend this much money to get new models, man. Yeah. But I do hope that we can get some stuff like Grotmus to further enhance this codex.
Plus, we're in that sweet spot now of the point where we have a codex, and so they'll actually start addressing us in the data slates. They'll actually start changing some things, maybe adjusting some stratagems, and giving us the weird random data slate detachments that everybody's gotten so far.
Yeah, we could both probably just keep talking about things that we wish, but let's wrap it up here. Before you head out, you want to do any shout outs?
Yeah, sure. I have a YouTube channel, as mentioned earlier, OneLastBlade. I have updated once in the last 2 years, but I really want to do something with the new codex on there now.
Cool.
I'm really happy to have had this opportunity to actually chat about this. Like, I haven't just been able to just voice all of my opinions and my thoughts in one space. So who knows? Maybe I'll do something like that.
I'm excited. I'm really hoping that you put out another video with some of this new codex stuff. You've got at least one person really looking forward to it.
Hell yeah. I want to get like 10 games under my belt and then do okay, this is what I think about the codex.
Yeah.
Like, just to have like a firm opinion on it. Because I feel like I've heard 1,000, I don't know, Reddit and Discord echo chambers where people express like very absolute opinions, you know?
Yeah.
But the applied actual knowledge of the whole thing is important. Second, I run a Warhammer club, a bar/Warhammer club in Seattle called Waystone Wargaming Speakeasy. I founded it a few years ago with my friend Dustin, who's an Eldar player, and it's been going for 3 years, and we're having it's really cool. It's great. It's a lovely place with a bunch of lovely folks where everybody rolls dice and drinks beer.
Depending on how many beers.
Depending on how deep they've gone. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully if we're ever over on that side, stop in and see how things are going.
Dude, you absolutely should. Let me know if you're in the area, and I will give you a hero's welcome.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, thanks again for having me. Again, it's been really nice to just hash out a lot of my opinions about everything that's happened in this book.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. You've actually played some with the Codex, so that helped quite a bit to give some reference, because I'm sitting here like, man, I don't know. It's been a little while.
Yeah. Again, I think it's the importance of like the applied knowledge of it, you know?
Yeah, before I forget, I'm going to get yelled at. YouTube stuff. We've got, the like, the subscribe, the bell, comment. Yeah, actually, let us know your thoughts on Grey Knights now that it's not quite as hot of a topic. Maybe we can get some more realistic responses as opposed to the knee jerk. But we've also got Patreon, patreon.com/SollySingleton. And don't forget to take a look at our merch, poorhammer.com. I think I did all those things. Still, see, we took a week off just like 2 weeks ago. We're trying to get back into things, and it's tough. It's real tough.
No off days.
All right, Borelio, take us out.